Hi, it's the M.L.M for the Soul channel, and I do have a new topic for today. Before I begin, I would just like to say, may the words and expressions of my mouth and the thoughts and meditations of my heart find favor and acceptance before you, Hashem. And some people I like to thank whenever I do these videos that have inspired me. I hope they can inspire you as well. They are Rabbi Shalom Arush, Rabbi Lazer Brody, Rabbi Yosef Mizrahi, Rabbi Eli Mansour, Rabbi Elona Nava, Rabbi Yuval Ovadia, Rav Daniel Asor, Nisan Baruch Black, David Sachs, and Rabbi Michael Skobac, Jews for Judaism. And again, if you've never watched any of the videos on this site, then please do check out my first video that explains what M.L.M for the Soul is all about and what it stands for. And I will have a link right below this video to check that out as well. So today is part 2 of the video that I did from last week, which is the Ramban's Mussar letter called Iggeres Ha'Ramban. And this is taken from this book, A Letter to the Ages. It's the Artscroll Series book. And I will have a link below this video as well to the Artscroll website, so you can check out all that they have to offer. So what I'm doing is I'm going through, they have it actually numbered by days, I realized. So we did days 1 through 3 last time and the introductory, so it was a longer video. So today will be a little bit shorter. So on to day 4. Kol hako'es kol minei Gehenim sholtin bo. Whoever flares up in anger is subject to the discipline of Gehenim. So again, I have my little chart here. Flares up in anger, subject to the discipline of Gehenim. So first paragraph, surrender to rage, abandoning restraint. Rabbeinu Nissim interprets this statement as a promise of retribution to the person who surrenders to rage. Anger is dangerous not only in and of itself, but also because of what it can lead to. Loosening the bridle of self-control can often be a first step towards abandoning restraint altogether. As each successive bond is severed, ultimately the bond of belief in Hashem will fall as well. Open and unfettered, the angry person is powerless to avoid sin and lays himself open to its devastating consequences. So you see how anger can, because you're not in control, it can lead to who knows what, because you're not of your mind, of your sound mind. Rabbi Avrohom Chaim understands that through anger, the pain of Gehenna becomes real, even in this world. He infers this from David HaMelech, who says, Hashem ha'alita min she'ol nafshi, Hashem, you have raised me up from the lower world, which was written while David was still alive. The burning emotions of anger, depression, and frustration are their own emotional hell. Beis Avram observes that the greatest danger of a hostile disposition is that it prevents others from offering constructive criticism. A person's peers will not point out his faults if they fear a tirade is in response. Without criticism to aid him, the easily angered person is more liable to fail in developing other aspects of his character as well. So when one is angry and you try to say anything to him, he won't be open to hearing it because he's just in a state of rage and, not going to want to respond to what you have to say. And won't even want to listen. Next one. This is called A Flower's Price. Sefer Haredim writes that the delicate soul, a celestial fragment of the Almighty, cannot tolerate anger. When a man succumbs to uncontrollable rage, his soul in its sense departs, leaving behind a deathly vacuum. One who surrenders to anger thus commits a form of spiritual suicide. So it's like when you're angry, it's like your true essence leaves you because it's not part of you at the time. He writes further, if you lost a beautiful flower, it would be madness for him to react by breaking a precious object worth thousands of times more than a small flower. Similarly, the person who loses his temper shatters his peace of mind, a commodity far more precious than the relatively trivial loss which triggered his wrath. So I'm going to just skip. There's another story. I'm just going to skip and go on to the next. So this is called Bittersweet Gifts. A philosopher once commented, most men endure lives of quiet frustration. Unfortunately, many people who display outward composure are consumed by inner turmoil. Their hearts overflow with bitter disappointments. With each new experience of life, setbacks, they become more deeply angered. The Talmud suggests an antidote to these feelings. No man is free of sin. Although Hashem has no mercy on those who are thoroughly evil, he acts with compassion towards the bulk of mankind. Instead of overwhelming transgressors with devastating blows, Hashem allows them to experience the consequences of sin gradually and over time. The Talmud cites numerous examples of minor discomforts which may serve as divine retribution. They include commissioning a tailor to sew a suit and disliking it, asking for a hot drink and it's being served a cold one, reaching in your pocket for 3 coins and you used to have 2, So the Talmud concludes, if a person goes through 40 days without experiencing any pain or slight discomfort, he should be concerned, lest he receive all of his rewards and pleasure in this world and suffering awaits him in the future. Even those apparently trivial discomforts are meaningful. They are indeed Hashem's bittersweet gift. So when you have a little thing, you cut your finger, you hit you bang your knee, your elbow, whatever. Don't look at it as, oh, why did that happen? Look at it as, wow, Hashem is really helping me, because you're having your retribution now instead of later. Like I've heard, I don't know where it was, where there were some people who were fearful, like it was almost 40 days and nothing happened to them. They'd go and do something very menial, like go clean the streets or pick up the rocks, or this was back a long time ago. But they didn't want to think that, wow, I'm getting my reward here. So that's the concern. The Midrash suggests that one develop a positive attitude toward the losses which occur in the course of normal life. Always be willing to forgive the mishaps which occur in your home. When someone breaks a bottle of expensive wine, if you react with compassion, Hashem himself will repay your loss. So if you get all angry, no. But if you just accept it and move on, then you'll get back for it. Okay, so now day 5. So when you distance yourself from anger, the quality of humility will enter your heart. The distance from anger, the quality of humility will enter your heart. So humility is a key to inner strength. The masters of Mussar teach that the angry person suffers from a sense of inferiority. Rav Shlomo Walby makes the following observation. One who craves attention from others has not yet found himself. He is unaware of his true worth. Lacking self-esteem, he depends on the opinion of others. He hungers for their praise, for without their appreciation, he feels worthless. When people fail to applaud him, he becomes helpless and therefore hostile and angry. So that's a person who's, he doesn't have self-esteem, so he always depends on others to boost him. He doesn't have it himself. Thus, the angry man cannot be a humble person. His anger demonstrates his resentments that the events of life have failed to conform with his expectations. His pride is wounded, and he seeks to compensate his esteem by putting his personal wants and opinions before others. His anger thus leads him to an ultimate display of arrogance. So, he feels like everything's failed him. He's angry at everyone, at everything, whatever happens. You can't be humble when you're angry. It just doesn't go together. In distancing himself from anger and resentment, the serene man subdues arrogance, and in time, it leads towards true humility. In this, he seeks to strive for perfect hishtavus, which is equilibrium. Ultimately, it makes no difference to the humble man whether he is praised or insulted by others. His self-esteem comes solely from within himself. So he doesn't let anything bother him, whether someone tells him one thing or another. He knows that it comes from himself. Next paragraph, the unattainable goal. Rav Chaim Shmulevitz observed a curious phenomenon in relation to the pursuit of glory. When a pompous person fails to earn the approval of even an insignificant person, he is so sorely vexed that all the honor he has so far attained seems worthless in his eyes. Even at the height of his glory, the honor seeker is troubled if even one person fails to show the respect which he demands. Although physical desires have saturation points, the desire for recognition has no limits. It can never be fulfilled. Indeed, since the thirst for honor is based on an internal lack of self-worth, no amount of outside praise can truly quench it. Thus, while the humble person finds serenity, one who seeks honor and recognition cultivates a life of inevitable frustration. And who is a perfect example of this that we know from the Torah is Haman. Haman HaGagi, Haman HaRasha. Mordechai, HaYehudi, wouldn't bow down to him. Everyone else did, and that one person just couldn't handle it. Everyone else was bowing down to him, but he wouldn't do it, and that he couldn't handle it. So here's a perfect example of this, of what I just read. Next paragraph, abandon yourself. In analyzing the word simcha, joy, one finds at its root macha, to erase. Very interesting. So if you take this shin away, it's mem chet he. If one truly wishes to rejoice, he must first abandon the conscious desire to place his own needs first. In a sense, he must forget about himself. So a pious man was asked, what was the happiest moment in your entire life? And this is very interesting, and I'll tell you who this story is about afterwards. He replied, I was once traveling on a ship. Because of my poverty, I was assigned the worst quarters imaginable, in the lowest hold together with the cargo. A group of rich merchants was also on board. Once as I lay in my berth, one of the merchants who had come down to the hold dumped his waste on me. Apparently I seemed so despicable in his eyes that he pretended that I wasn't there. I was shocked by the man's audacity. Nevertheless, I was pleased to find that I felt no anger at being offended. That's a very high level. When I realized how indifferent I was to my own prestige, I was truly overcome with joy. I recognized that I achieved a level of genuine humility. And this is from the Rambam's commentary to Mission Avos. And I think it is about the Rambam. I've heard that. So imagine that. I mean, I don't know if anyone in this day and age could be at that high level where someone dumps their waste on you, physically on you, and you say nothing and you just let it go. That's real humility. Okay, now the final day, day 6, Shehi Midah Tova Mikol Hamidot Tovot. That humility, this sterling quality, is the finest of all admirable traits. So this statement parallels a similar clause to the Rambam, the Maimonides' ethical will. Humility is the ladder which leads to sublime heights. Remember, there is no ornament as attractive as humility. Okay, so this is called the receptive crystal. Tomer Devora sees humility as the key to attaining the gamut of excellent character traits. In a sense, humility can be seen as a sort of spiritual superconductor. Electricity does not flow smoothly through all metal. Impurities in some offer resistance to electric flow and cause energy to be lost. Other pure metals, however, can act as superconductors, allowing currents to pass through them smoothly with no energy loss. Thus, just as certain pure metals conduct electricity without offering resistance, so too man may refine himself into a pure vessel through which divine energy flows freely. By internalizing a humble nature, man filters the clouding element of self-absorption and becomes crystalline, attuned and receptive to the desires of his maker. And then the next one is very interesting. So this is called humility's hallmarks. So the Shevet Mussar outlines several behavior patterns which identify genuine humility. You might want to write these down. You might want to take notes as you're going along if you can. You might want to pause the video and write your notes and then come back. So these are 6 different behavior patterns. So speaking gently. The humble man speaks gently even to those who are dependent upon him. Family, employees, and the poor of his town. He treats all men and women with equal respect and honesty. So no matter what, it's like all even keel, no matter who he speaks to. Accepting praise. If others heap undeserved praise upon him, he will not hesitate to deflect it. However, even when he is rightly honored, the humble man is genuinely abashed. Although justifiably pleased with his accomplishment, he's aware that they represent a fraction of his potential. He has still left much undone. So even when people heap praise on him, he still knows, like, wow, this is nothing. I know I've accomplished, but I know that there's so much more I can do. So people who maybe look at you like, wow, look what you've done, look how righteous you are, look how this, and you think, oh my goodness, I have so much more to accomplish. I'm nowhere near what the people think I am. Third, response to success. Genuine humility increases in proportion to the humble person's success. Even as Hashem bestows great fortune upon him, the humble man does not grow proud. He responds to success by increasing his devotion to Hashem and his dedication to the needs of others. So, even as he gets his success, he knows that this is a means for him to have more devotion to Hashem and do more for others, not to just, be proud that he's done all this, because there's always, like I said, more you can do. Making amends. If he has an argument with others, the humble person does everything in his power to swiftly make amends. He begs forgiveness of his antagonist. So he's a person who wants to correct things right away. If he says something wrong or did something wrong, he doesn't wait for later. Avoiding revenge. The humble person never takes revenge. Even when viciously attacked, he is able to forgive his assailant and in time is able to erase the incident from his mind. So he never wants to, do something because you did this to me, I'm going to do this to you. He lets it go. He, tries to let it out of his thoughts. Finally, acceptance. The humble person can accept suffering without breaking. His intense love for his Creator helps him absorb the harshness of life blows. So whatever he gets, he accepts, no matter what it is. And that's not easy in this day and age, but it's a very wonderful thing to see. It's, commendable. The humble man merits divine assistance, as David HaMelech says, Yadrech anavim b'mishpat v'yilamed anavim darko. He leads the humble with justice and will teach the humble his way. Hashem assists the humble in achieving spiritual perfection. So if you're humble, Hashem will help you. He will assist you. And finally, the last part for this day 6, the empty couch. This is coach. I'm sorry, not couch. Excuse me, slip of the lip. So this is an interesting story. So extraordinary humility has been a trademark of Torah leaders since the beginning of our history. Moshe Rabbeinu, one of the most accomplished men who ever lived, is described by the Torah as very humble, more so than any man on the face of the earth. His example has served as a model for others throughout history. So the story goes, I'm just going to paraphrase this. So the Jews of Warsaw came to greet two of the greatest scholars of the time. and thousands of people came, children, men, women, and they were paying honor to Rabbi Akiva Eiger of Posen and Rabbi Yaakov Lorberbaum of Lisa, who had come to visit. So the crowd was there, and then the men decided to unhitch the horses from this coach. To show respect for them, they grabbed onto it and were pulling it forward. So inside the coach, these two, great people were inside. And first, so Rabbi Akiva Eiger was thinking, oh, isn't that the great Rav Yaakov? Maybe they're coming to welcome him. So he actually slips out of the coach. He wants to be part of the mitzvah. He slips out, and he joins in pulling the vehicle. And then the other side of the coach was Rabbi Yaakov. I guess they didn't see each other, so that's why this is possible. He also was thinking, oh, they're probably here to honor Rabbi Akiva Eiger. So he wanted to join in as well. So he goes out the door, and he also is pulling the coach. So as everyone is there to greet them with the reception, they're not aware that there's no one in the coach. It just shows you the humility of both of these great tzaddikim. So Sefer Hamidos predicts, when the world witnesses a renaissance of the quality of humility, mankind can begin to expect the arrival of Mashiach. Amen. Menoras HaMeor adds that at that time the humble folk will be hailed as true heroes of humanity, as it is written, Ki rotzeh Hashem ba'amo yafa'er anavim b'Yeshua. When Hashem shows favor to his nation, he will glorify the humble at the time of salvation. And that is a perfect segue to closing and saying that I hope and pray that we all can work on ourselves, on our humility, controlling our anger, doing things that Hashem wants to see from us, that will help us to all live and merit to see the coming of the Mashiach speedily in our days and the rebuilding of our final everlasting Beis Hamikdash. Amen, and thanks for watching.